Yo, what's good YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be going over all of the free-to-play methods currently in the game that you can do solo without having to use ults in Anime Defenders Update 3. So this is the Update 3 version. Obviously I will do a version every update depending if things do change with the best gem methods. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over 5 methods today of all the ways you're able to get gems free to play and what I think you guys should be doing and what I think you guys should be putting your time into, because I have tried them all out myself and some work, some don't. Some are actually good and worth putting your time into, some I really don't think are. But before we do get into that, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, because it really does mean a lot to me. It helps me out so much and it also gives you guys free content. We just hit 1,500 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. That's a good milestone for me. It means a lot to me and I hope we can keep growing. But let's get straight into this. Right, okay, so the first method I actually want to talk about is the Tower of Eternity. I think it is one of the best free-to-play game modes, but obviously there is also different ones out there depending on what type of playstyle you guys like. But you can basically do the Tower of Eternity with a decently good amount of mythics. You can get up to about floor 100 just using mythics. I'm on floor 78 and I didn't even use any of the secrets I had. Really, the only one I kind of used sometimes was Igris, just because I put him at the end. If I had to go do something, I'd just use him just to be able to do it all. But remember, you do need a hybrid unit because there are flying units in here. And if you're doing this primarily for gems, as you can see on my screen at floor 78, I'm starting to get 2 trait reroll crystals, frostbinds and also a risky dice, which you can also sell all of these for gems as well on top of the 270 gems that you're getting. And each round takes from anywhere from 6 to about 8 minutes. So if you think about it, in 8 minutes you're making 270 gems, so in an hour you could be making up to 3, maybe even 4,000 depending on how quick you can do it. And also if you're selling all of the stuff you're getting from it, you can be making even more, because trait crystals are worth about 200 each, frostbinds worth about 400-ish, risky dice are worth a little bit less because there's just so many of them. But if you sell all of them, you'll be making tons of gems. So in my opinion, this is a very good method, and it's also a method I know a lot of people use. It obviously can be alt farmed because of the fact that you get trait crystals, frostbinds, risky dice and gems from it, so everyone can just be doing this on all their alts. But like I said, it's not as easily alt farmed because you can't AFK it. So it's a very good method, and it also is a very good method for those who can't alt farm or those on mobile, because I know it's very hard for the mobile gamers out there. But let's get on to the next method. Okay, so now we're going to go on the new game mode that got added in this update. So the new game mode that got added in this update is Hall of Mirrors. So as of right now, before they do release the patch, I really don't think this is worth it. So obviously you get 400 gems from doing easy, and obviously it goes up depending on what mode you're doing. So if you're doing hard, I think you get about 700. I could be wrong, but you get 400 here, so that every hour that's only 800 gems. I'm about to say 80, I can't even do maths. About 800 gems. You do get the magic mirrors, but they don't really sell for much either. They're selling for like 20 of them for about 5k, so they're not really selling for much either. The jester hats, they're a very good food item, so if you're doing this more for just grinding and not really for the gem aspect of it, I do think it is very worth it. Obviously in nightmare mode you have that 1% chance of actually getting a star, which you can sell for 25,000, because that's how much they're worth right now. Stars are worth about 25,000. So maybe after the next update it does mean the price of them will drop, but when we do this method we might be able to sell the new stars and trade them for profits, because then this mode will actually be kind of a lot better if the drop rates are actually pretty good, because I think they make an easy about 2% chance. So doing the easy one, you can easily solo it, so doing it then will actually be very, very helpful. But you can't really solo the new nightmare mode. There is ways to do it, but you need a very, very high and good team. So for the average player and the average player that just grinds the game, you will not be able to get it free to play, unfortunately. So I really don't think this one's worth your time. But if you do want to grind it just for the aspect of doing the game mode, and also for the food items and maybe for the magic mirrors, if you do have any of the exclusive units, then you go for it. But for gems primarily, which is what this video is on, I do not suggest it. Okay, and the third method I'm going to be going over is by doing infinites. They used to be a lot better because you were actually able to alt farm these, and you're actually able to infinitely macro it, so you'll be able to go to bed, come back and have about 30, maybe even 40,000 gems. Also have some trait rerolls with also some food. Obviously the food isn't really good because it's from the first area, but considering they've got basically locked down on most of their whole alt farming or AFK grinding with macros, this mode has kind of useless. You can still do it, it still gives you a decent amount, and it also does give you trait reroll crystals. So what you would usually do is you come in here, go to about wave 30, then you can leave. Obviously using alts obviously does make it a lot better, but personally I don't think this method's really worth it anymore. But what I do think is worth it is if you do it in the last area to get the food items and stuff like that, because getting a unit units to max level is always very, very important. But for the gem side of it, I really don't think this is worth it. So let's get straight on to the next one. Okay, this is one of my personal favorites, but I don't really see many people talking about this one. So when the raids open, obviously you've got your raid shop here. Obviously, you can buy all of these stuff in here and actually sell them for gems. So if you're not going for the Bear King, or you're not going for the evolve item for the Bear King, you can obviously just straight up buy gems, which I do not suggest. You can buy rerolls, which are 200 each, and you can buy 3 usually at a time, and they can be at a discounted price. So for doing one raid, you can buy 3 trait reroll crystals, which is 600 gems. Plus, you also get gems from actually doing the raid itself, and you also, no, you don't get gems, sorry, that's my bad. You have a chance to get the Bear King from here, and he goes for a lot of money, especially if you can get him in a shiny. He can be upwards of 500k if you get the right trait on him. So this is also just a very good method to do. You should also just be doing this because the Bear King is a very good one. Obviously, the Water Sword Master isn't really a very good mythical unless you get him fully maxed out, but the Bear King is one of the best units in the game, as in mythics, not including secrets. The Bear King is one of the best units in the game. Obviously, you can also buy Frostbinds, and you can also buy Risky Dice, so actually buying all of these is always helpful because Frostbinds actually sell for a lot, trait crystals sell for a lot, and risky dice are always good to have. I wouldn't suggest spending your crystals on actually just buying the currency of the gems though, because you can make a lot more buying the other items in the trading thing. And there is obviously profit trading, but I've also made a full video about that, of how to get your first secret through profit trading, so I'm not going to go into that one too much, but I would suggest you can put a couple hours into it, but it is very hard. As long as you know what you're doing, you can do really well, but if you don't, it can be very hard, and you have to use a lot of Discord, a lot of advertising, and a lot of patience and time, and obviously getting scammed is always a possibility in games like this. So personally, I've stayed away from it, but I do know a lot of friends that have been trading up. Like, I'm friends with the #1 gem person, and all he's been doing is trading. He's got a bunch of shiny mythicals, a bunch of shiny secrets. He gets the new secrets when they first come out. He's got a couple shadow dragons. So it can be worth it as long as you know what you're doing, and if you become very trustworthy in the trading community, you can get very, very high. The fifth and final method is probably the method most people do use, is the AFK zone, because you don't need an auto clicker for this, so you can do this on phone. It automatically reconnects you after 20 minutes. Obviously you can do this free to play, but if you are doing it non-free to play, you can obviously buy the premium and you can buy the VIP to get even more rewards from it. But bear in mind, you can't just do this as a brand new player. You need to be at least level 10 to actually start getting good rewards. But I would suggest coming here and doing this obviously when you're not at the game, because you can't really AFK anything else in this game. So surely when you're not at the game, you would do the smartest thing, and you're saying you want some gems, so come in just to the AFK zone. Obviously doing it free to play, you're only going to be getting like a couple thousand, obviously if you're only doing it on one account, but a couple thousand's better than doing absolutely nothing when you're not on the game. So I would highly suggest this. But what I'm going to say is this is going to be the end of the video. That is all I kind of know as of right now, as of update 3. But obviously new methods could come out, and you know I'm going to be your guy to tell you about them and tell you the best ways to do them and the best ways to optimize them. But it's been Zez, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Ka-ciao.